Okay, another week of option income updates and my option trades for the week and the good, the bad, the ugly. And this week was a little different because the stock market like doubled in 2 days. I was stuck in a lot of cover calls and prices went up beyond my strike price. It's not what I planned. So sometimes you have mixed emotions. So I have a growth bucket of a certain percent, and then you have your cover calls, and part of you are rooting for the stock market to go up slow so your strike prices don't get hit. And then the other part of you want your growth fund to go through the roof. So we'll talk about that in a second. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. I post couple videos a week, sometimes more if the weather is crappy and I'm stuck inside and bored. And this is not financial advice. I just share what I'm doing. So a minute ago, I said I'm happy that my growth bucket is invested in QQQ and S&P 500 and VTI and SPMO and some other growth funds. So approximately 2/3 of my total bucket of money is in growth. And then we have an income bucket, about 20% of our funds. And we have like SPY, QQQI, GPIQ, TDAC, T-SPY, and things like that. I usually put out a video about once a month showing that income bucket and the distributions we get from that. The original plan was to live off those distributions to supplement my retirement income, but the option income bucket has been doing so well that we've just been living off the option income bucket along with some pension money we get. So I just mentioned the option income bucket. So that's only about 10% of our total in it. Actually, it might be less than 10% right now because the growth bucket is growing and so is the income bucket. So it's not that the option income bucket is going down. It's just that these other ones are getting to be bigger. And this option income bucket grows a little bit, but not too much because when money accumulates in here, I transfer it over to my cash living expense bucket where we keep about 1 or 2 years of living expenses in there. And then we live off that money. So our pension money goes in that bucket. My option income money, a lot of it goes in this bucket. And also some of my income bucket from down here is starting to go into here because I need to start taking money out of this bucket because it's in a 401k. That's pre-tax. I'm getting that out of there, converting some to Roth, and some I'm taking out and just putting in this bucket. So I'm recently retired. I'm constantly adjusting, trying to find the right thing that works for us. And even though I won't say things aren't working, I just, as time goes on, I adjust and depending on how everything is working. So, but I've wasted about 3 minutes talking about things that aren't relevant. So let's get going here. Okay, here's my option tracking spreadsheet. And right here is the week that we just got done finishing. So I made 8 trades this week, or I closed 8 trades. And you see, if I highlight these here, down here, it says I made $824 this week. So that wasn't too bad. About an equal mix between some cover calls and some cash secured puts. Didn't have anything that stood way out. So the one thing I missed out on this week was NVDL. I've been doing a cash secured put on NVDL at least once or twice a week with like a weekly expiration for probably since last November. So maybe about 5 or 6 months, making anywhere from $300 to $500 or more a week. But NVDL started shooting up in price, and I didn't want to do a cash secured put because I thought it would bounce back down. So this war with Iran is really messing with the market, and there may be some negative news and everything goes down, and there's positive news and everything goes up. And sometimes that news will be to my advantage of making money in options. But really, I just wish there was no war and things would just go sideways. And you can count on things like corporate earnings and things that make the market move and interest rates. Those things are easier to predict. You can't predict what's going to happen during wars, but it is what it is, and we'll just quit talking about that for now. So a couple mistakes I made last week. Well, one mistake was I should have went ahead and did a cash secured put on NVDL for something like 80. If you look here, when I got out of this trade, it was at 83. I should have turned around and then did another cash secured put for like 80 strike price because right now the L is at 96. So I would have did just fine. Anyhow, so I did not do any trades with NVDL. So actually I'm sitting on a lot of cash right now. Over half my option bucket is sitting in cash doing nothing. So part of me is disappointed that I didn't have a bunch of shares of NVDL or TQQQ and catch that upwards price and make some money that way. But then I got to go back and think to myself, like, wait a minute, that's what this growth bucket is for, is to buy and hold and catch those big rides going up. So my growth bucket did very, very well, like everybody's growth buckets did this past week. But this option income bucket just kind of stayed sideways because a lot of it's in cash or cover calls right now. So getting back to my spreadsheet here. So really no one particular trade that looked great. So the one mistake I did make is I got 3 different accounts with Robinhood options in there. And last Monday, right before closing, I decided to go ahead and buy back these cover calls and make a little bit of money. So I did that for one account here. This account says JT. So I bought back 2 contracts and I made just a little bit of money. I have 2 more accounts down here that I did not get the trades in on time on Monday. So they weren't filling because the price of Robinhood was creeping up. And I put the trades in, but they did not get filled. I decided I'll just wait till Tuesday and go ahead and get rid of these cover calls because I had a feeling that Robinhood might be creeping up back in price. I got the strike price at 85. And if you look at my bases here, my base is 105 about for this one, or 104, and then 99 over here. And my bases up here was 90. So I want to get out of these cover calls so I can sit and just let the price of the shares go back up, get closer to the bases, and then do new cover calls. Let's say like for this one, at least 95. And like this one down here, like 105, and this one down here, like at least 100. So I break even if the shares get called away. But anyhow, I missed the boat on Monday. And then if I pop open Yahoo charts here, and if I look at the 5-day chart, so I believe this was Monday here. So Monday at the closing was right in here. The price was starting to creep up a little bit. I was trying to get out of those cover calls. I said, okay, I'll just wait till Tuesday. Well, look what happened Tuesday to open a lot higher. And at that point, premium had gone away. So I would have had to pay to close those. I said, oh, okay. And it just kind of went sideways all day. And I kind of waited thinking it would go down, and I could, well, I'll just wait till Wednesday and then get out of it. And then Wednesday, kept creeping back up. And then Thursday went sideways a little bit. And then today, Friday, it went up even more. So they're going to expire next week. So I don't usually root for things to go down in price, but I'm kind of hoping for the price of Robinhood, it's at like 90 right now. I'm kind of hoping that it goes back down below 85. So these will expire worthless, and then I'll hang on to those shares, and then I want the price to go up to 95 and 100 and 150 and go flying back up. So that was a mistake. So the other thing I did, I had some cover calls on Affirm, 3 contracts, 55 strike price. Today it closed, I think, at 64. My basis is at 57. So I came out on the losing end of about $2 per share. So that's about $600 here that I will have lost on this transaction. So that's not good. And if I highlight my profit again, I made 824 in income, but I lost $600 on this here. I don't really keep track. People have asked me, like, why don't I keep track of the gains and losses? And I do kind of keep track, but not on this sheet. But a few weeks ago, I had TQQQ. I had some contracts, some cover calls, and I didn't do cover calls on all of them. And TQQQ shot way up, and I made like $700 or $800 on 100 shares of TQQQ. I think my basis was like around 42 or 43, and I hung on to it. It got up about 50 or so, and then I sold those shares. So that happens once in a while, and I did this a few times with a couple other ones. So sometimes I make money by letting the shares kind of run up in price and sell them for a profit. And then sometimes I lose money by rolling the dice and thinking that the price is not going to go up as fast as it did in these 2 cases, and my shares get yanked away from me below my cost basis. So that's kind of a rule that I try to follow. I try not to set a strike price below the basis, so I don't end up selling these shares for less than what I paid for it. So just if you're having trouble following me, I'm sometimes have trouble following myself. So in summary, at the close of today, I sold 300 shares of Affirm for $55 because of this covered call. However, I paid $57.28 on average for the shares when they were assigned to me. Originally, I had 2 contracts and the price went way down to 44, and I bought another 100 shares and it brought my basis down, which that was a good move, but then I screwed that up by doing this cover call. Now, the AMZU, now these will get called away, but my strike price was $30.80. Originally, it was like 31, but they did some price adjustment because I think there was a dividend paid or something. So that price changed a little bit. So I have 8 contracts, so 800 shares, and the price is at $38 right now, but my basis is $30.10. So basically, I bought them for $30.10, and then today I will have sold them for $30.80. Now, if I didn't have these cover calls, I could be selling them for $38, but that's the thing about options. You don't really know what's going to happen. You just kind of like do the best guess, and you make a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And sometimes you miss out on some big gains. It is what it is. But once again, like I said, this is not my growth bucket. So somebody might be looking at this and, wow, you should have just let this sit. Well, like I said, that's what I got my growth bucket for, is let things sit and let things grow. So it is what it is. I did do a couple cash card puts on UPRO and then 3 on TQQ. And those strike prices at 75 and 30. And so the UPRO went all the way up to 125 when that ran out today. Actually, I closed it early. Those were into May, but they were like about 90% profit or so. And so I went ahead and just bought those back and locked in those prices, thinking that maybe the price of these will dip down next week. And if and when they do, I'll jump back in with some more cash secured puts. In the meantime, I locked in this money here, almost $378. So that's good. And then looking forward to next week, I only got a couple cash secured puts out there. I got one on MSFU and then one on yen. And both of these, I could have closed these today. They're like 80% profit right now. So I might close those next week because they don't expire till the 15th, but they probably will just go and run until they expire worthless, which is good for me. So if this one goes to 0 and this one goes to 0, that'd be about $750 or so from these two. So those would be pretty good. And the reason I close them early is to free up money to jump into something else and do cash secured put on something else that might be even more premium or even a better deal. Now, I might not be doing too many cover calls in the next couple of weeks unless the market drops a little bit, because it's really ran up a lot. If I go back to SPY here, and I like looking at the 6-month chart here. So you look at the RSI is at 73. So it's getting to the part where it's really getting to be overbought. So I'm thinking it has to take a dip here next week. It's at the top of the Bollinger Band. So everything about this, in my view, tells me don't do a cash secured put on SPY, okay? Because it's way up here at the top of the Bollinger Band, the RSI is way up here, all kinds of things going on. So we do have SPY in our growth bucket, and sometimes I'll do cover calls on that, like real low delta, like a 0.08 delta, like way up here. So I might do that next week, but I don't really keep track of that in this spreadsheet because that money usually just goes back in the growth bucket to continue to grow. It's not really income I take out to live on at this point. So anyhow, I think I covered everything. So the week was okay, was not perfect at all. I got a lot of cover calls coming due here in the next few weeks, and some of these might be called away below my basis, which is not the way I planned. So I have lift here 15, but my base is at 1477, so that's okay. BITX 22, base is 2184. I got Tesla 14, the base is 1339. So this is exactly how cover calls should work. I do have the SOFI at 19, the basis is 1971, so that's a little bit on the wrong side. These Robinhood ones are going to hurt. I got BBAI 450 strike price and the basis is 466. So we'll see how that works out. So the ones I'm worried about are these Robinhood ones right here. So I need Robinhood to go down in price, and I need SOFI just to kind of stay steady. It's trading right around $20, I believe. 19.43. So I need to stay under 20 between now and May 15th. I don't know why I went out so far on that strike price. I usually only go out a couple weeks, but I thought SOFI had fizzled out a little bit. So this video has gone very long, but people are probably interested to see what's going on this week with the market going crazy nuts. There you have it, and we'll see you in the next video.